Hey there. Germany has a different style of doing their frying for their yeast raised products, and it's actually very interesting. They're very concerned about the quality of the product, each individual item, and you'll see by the photos of the end result how perfect they are. Why don't you give us a view of your system in frying?
Well, we can offer to our US customers the fryers in two different ways. Either the traditional way in as a float frying conveyor fryer with one turn, two turns, or three turns, depending on the product. But in Europe, we are mainly using for the artisan bakeries a so-called batch frying system, but with automatic turning units. The typical German baker has much more variety in fried products than, for example, typically in the US. And that's why our systems are as much flexible as possible. So we can exchange these turning baskets from 6-row to 4-row. We can take them out. We can use flat frying baskets for large products, small products. We can use submerging baskets for submerged frying products. We can add the dosing units directly to the fryer to dose directly products into the fryer. That gives the maximum flexibility which a typical, let's say, German artisan baker is requiring. In the US, for example, we are selling this type of fryer as well as the continuous fryer, and while talking to the customer, we find out by which products is he making, in which quantities is he making the products, and then we tell him from our point of view the best suitable system is either an automatic batch frying system or an automatic conveyor frying system.
Have you done any like multiple store units where they'll actually make up the product at a separate facility, ship it to the stores, and then they'll fry it on site? Or is everybody doing their product, mixing, cutting, everything at each store?
That depends on the country. For example, in Germany, it's traditionally made in the bakery and then shipped as a finished product to the different shops. For example, we are selling these units to Tesco, Carrefour, Auchan, international supermarket chains for their in-store bakeries. In Russia, for example, they go a slightly different way. They have either full in-store bakeries, but also, for example, central preparation of the dough, and then they ship the dough either cooled or frozen to the shops where they make then the finishing. That means the proving and the frying and the decoration and the filling in the shops. So from 100% production from the flour till the finished product down to just heating up deep frozen products in the shop. And with our systems, we can help the customers from the flour till the decoration of the end product, depending on the shop and depending on the size of sales for each individual shop. So we have the fryers from very small, let's say 200 pieces an hour, up to very big for the central commissary who wants to ship the products then finished to the different shops.
Now, I'm noticing you're using electricity for your heating.
Yes.
And in America, we're pretty fond of gas.
Yeah.
And yet I've heard that efficiency-wise, it's possible for the electric to be more efficient.
Electric has, well, efficiency depends on, I would say, the cost of gas or electricity in the location of the installation, but I prefer electric because electric is more equal in the temperature. A donut is absorbing a lot of oil when the temperature is going down, and it's burning very quickly when the temperature goes up too much. So for example, in Europe we are frying on 176 degrees Celsius. If you go down to, let's say, 168 or 165 degrees Celsius, you double the fat absorption. If you go up to 180, then you limit the shelf life of your oil by 50%. You can regulate that much closer with electric heating systems, where we use digital controlled heating systems. The older fryers, they all had these thermostat controlled heating system. There you have technically seen temperature variations plus minus 12 degrees Celsius. So you end up with a high fat absorption in the product. And what does that mean to the end customer? He eats the donut and says, oh wow, that's nice, but I'm full. If you make that with that machine, he will eat the donut and say, oh wow, that's nice, it's light, I take another one. What means that for the baker? His possibility of increasing sales is huge. We did it in a supermarket chain in Hungary. I installed such a fryer personally, and within 2 weeks' time, they tripled the turnover from the products. They saved 15% of dough, they limited the fat absorption by more than 30%, and the sales increased by 300%, stable. And that's the target, to bring the donuts more healthy to the customer than ever before.
I gotta say, having a gas unit back home, your tank is not as deep as mine. So you're holding significantly less oil than I'm holding. And therefore you're heating less oil. You know, so I still think you might be saving money with this unit on the energy usage.
You're saving a lot of money because, for example, for a fryer for 60 donuts at a time, you just have 49 liters of oil in it. That's a very low oil capacity. With that electric heating system, we are still able to maintain always the same temperature to have it equal in order to bring the best quality product out of it. But we also have another big advantage in the batch frying system against a conveyor fried system. Before the first turn, we close the lid. And this is very important because then we get out of the same given weight, we get a bigger volume. So what the donut does is it's raising out of the oil, creating a nice wide ring around it. And then once it's flipped over, you can bake with the open lid. So can you imagine that before you use, for example, 70 gram of dough for a volume, and then you reduce, for example, the dough down to 60 gram, and you have even a bigger volume than before. So that means oil saving, dough saving, better quality, better volume, nicer products. That has to end up in increasing sales.
I've noticed 2 units.
Yeah, in Germany we are doing a lot of Berliner, which have, for example, 6 minutes frying time. So we add 2 fryers to an automatic filling system, so that one person can load and unload 2 fryers, do the automatic filling, and on the way back on the belt we do an automatic sugaring. And that way one person is able to do about 1,200 Berliners an hour or 2,400 donuts an hour, just one single person.
Very nice. See a lot of yeast raised products, particular Berliners, but what about cake donuts?
Cake donuts is also possible. For the cake donuts, we add an electric depositor to the machine with a triple swiveling arm, and then we can dose the cake donuts, the munchkins, the quark balls, all directly into the pan. So the only thing what we do is we take this unit out, we put a flat frying basket in, and we dose them directly into the oil.
Okay, very good. And what are munchkins?
Munchkins are the donut holes, for example.
Donut holes.
Yeah.
I think I might call them munchkins. Okay, so Franz, tell me about how you're filling these things. I notice it's basically going right into a filling station.
That's correct. What we do is the conventional way of filling before was you take every donut in your hand and you inject it manually. The industrial lines, they all have automatic injection units, and so what we did was we were inventing a system to be able to use batch frying systems with an automatic filling system in order to save a lot of labor work. So once the donuts are filled, they are transported with an automatic conveyor to the back of the fryer. They turn left, and then on the way back here we have an automatic filling station, stopping the donut, injecting the donut, and then transporting it here.
Technology here. Basically, it's on an air piston, and it's gonna exactly find the right spot for the Bismarck.
So what we do is we detect the donut. The program knows how big the donut is, so we detect the donut, where the donut begins. We stop the donut right here at the center, and then this unit is moving forward, injecting into the donut, and then the pump is pumping the marmalade, for example, into the donut. So it goes forward and backward, in order to stop dropping later when the needle is going back. Once the injection is done, then the transport goes on and is transporting the donut here out of the line to a next conveyor, ending up in a sugaring table. Changing the filling here is very easy because you don't clean the hopper every time. You take the hopper, you take the complete tube and the needle, you just hook it out, put it into the fridge, and then using a spare one to continue directly. That avoids a lot of time in cleaning all the equipment.